It's done. Yes, I'm there. Okay, we're good. We're good. So he's like jumping back and forth in between guests that are online, and then Mike, we were supposed to do this last week.
Yeah, and I get on the Zoom call, and it's like, where's your studio? And I was like, why am I not there?
Yeah, so we postponed, and here we are. This is good. It's warm in here a little bit. It's good. It's a hot day out there. It's going to be... it's like the middle of the summer temperatures.
Records, apparently. Okay, well, records.
Let's talk about some boring weather stuff. Get that out of the way. I've got Mike Clark here from Workforce Dental Staffing. It's been a while, my friend.
It has. Yeah, I'm glad I'm still here and around.
Yeah. You're still doing your thing.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey, right? We launched our dental division 5 years ago. About 7 months before COVID.
What a time to start a business, eh?
Just pushed all in, and then 9 months later had to lay everyone off, and it was just, I think I was, Pam, who leads my dental division, we always joke about the day that happened, because I was crying on a bench with her because I had to lay her off, and because no one knew what was going on. It was just a disaster.
It was. But here's the thing, nobody likes talking about it, but I do, because I think it was a good time for everybody to go back into their mind and think about how they can innovate, how they can do things different. So I know you're the type that did just that, I'm sure.
Yeah, we made a pivot. We actually used our dental hygienist to do COVID contact tracing work. So we managed to figure out how to get through COVID, but not far after, a lot dental offices started figuring it out as well, and all of a sudden our phone was ringing, and it's like, we need people. So we came back a lot faster than I thought. But it was good, and the journey's been an interesting one for sure, because it's we started this dental temp division. Now we do permanent staffing as well, because all these agencies across Canada and the United States, I call them basement agencies, and none of them were directly employing the temp workers they were sending, and which creates a complete nightmare if you can think about it, because if I were a temp, I were to go into do 30 shifts, around town in a year, and they're all 30 different offices. You're going to walk into those offices, and two things are going to happen. One, they're going to know that you have to be paid as an employee, and they're going to have to put you on their payroll. So you're filling out all this paperwork, which means you're going to collect a T4 at the end of the year. And then the other half, they're going to say, oh, no, it's just one time. We'll just, pull out the checkbook and write you a check. And that's totally offside. So, it's the employee versus contractor debate that's been going on in this industry for a long time. And I can assure you that temp workers are not contractors. I have spoken to just literally dozens and dozens of offices that have been dragged across the coals from the CRA and the IRS for the misclassification of this.
Yeah.
I never thought in a million years that I'd spend the last 5 years on like an education campaign trying to tell dentists that you cannot pay these temp workers as contractors. They just don't meet the definition. There's control tests. The easiest one is, do they bring their own tools?
Right.
They don't. And that includes literally the chair that they sit in. Unless they're leasing the chair off you for the day, like they're not a contractor. Mm-hmm. So, if I'm going to give all dentist owners and office managers a couple key things today. Number one, employee versus contractor, temp workers are employees. You have to employ them, or you have to have an agency that deals with this for you. And
CRA has recently spent a ton of cash to improve their systems to catch these types of things.
You won't even believe what I've heard over the years. So get this. So now they used to target the offices, and everyone knows a dentist that's been nailed for this misclassification. But now they're actually going the other way around. The temp worker, they're depositing these checks. They forget to do their taxes.
Right.
We had one at the PDC this couple months ago, she came up to me and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm under the microscope with the CRA." I was like, "Why? What happened?" So, well, I temped at 50 different offices. I had 30 T4s, and I forgot to submit a T4.
Oh yeah.
And then they know, because they get all the T4s get submitted by the employers.
Yeah.
And so they went after her, and they're like, "Okay, well, you're not filing this properly." Then they go a bit deeper. And then they look at her bank account and be like, "Okay, what are all of these other deposits? These are the offices that are just cutting checks, right?" Then what they do is they look at the name on the check, and then they go to that office, and then they get Dr. Smith, whoever it is, and they drag them across the coals, and then that just opens up the whole.
Just like branches, right? And if she's the trunk, they just extend and just nail everyone. That's my nightmare. Administration stuff is a nightmare. And, a successful practice is built on good systems. Mm-hmm. It's built on good systems. So I could only imagine the crap that you uncover.
Well, it's just every year I hear a different way of somebody and how they got nailed. And that was an interesting one, that they're going through the candidates now. And, we set this up and we create this division, and we're doing it the way we're doing it and directly employing everyone we send out, because the candidate experience is number one. We will and continue will attract the best talent if we provide the best candidate experience.
Right.
And part of that is, if you go temp at 50 different offices, you should get one T4. Yeah. And that's what we provide, right? So the simplicity of that, just that one thing, along with a bunch of other little things, is really why, I think we're doing what we're doing.
I would sidestep, I would go out of my way to sidestep something that could be a potential landmine. So I'm seeing all sorts of other temp type apps and platforms popping up all over the place.
100%.
Is this just are we setting a landmine CRAs just rubbing their, licking their chops here? What's going to happen?
It's mind-boggling to me that every year I see another one pop up.
There's so many. There are so many, but it's a great idea. It's needed.
They're all copycats of the original idea, which was just this sort of glorified babysitting booking service where it's, seriously, there's still not to this day one agency besides us in Canada that provide dental staffing for temp workers where they're directly employed by the agency. We're the only one right now. I've been waiting 5 years for someone to come behind me. And when we first started this, I was like, man, we got to get out of this. We gotta be quiet. Shh. Don't tell anybody we're doing this, because if we can get ahead of everybody, then we'll win. Now 5 years later, I'm literally saying, "Come on, guys! Come to the party, right? Do this properly, end this madness that we're seeing." And it just keeps cycling. And the other thing that I wish I could get all the dentists in one room. So what's happening with these other basement agencies is that they don't care, what they charge, as far as the hygienist or whatever.
Well, that's my question. It's how do they monetize? That's my first. And there's some folks out there that have got a great heart. They got this great idea, but it's that's cool. But how are you monetized? How are you making money? Well, I mean, the agency,
they charge a placement fee, but really I call it a booking fee. It's but now the responsibility to, make sure that hygienist that shows up is licensed,
right,
covered by insurance, all gets issued a T4, or maybe you're going to, roll your dice and pay her as a contractor. They're all doing this, right? They're under this old model, and it's creating this other problem. And this is why I want to get all the dentists in the room, is that because the agency's not controlling the wages, these hygienists and assistants and whatnot, they're going in and let's say the market, depending on what market you're in, let's say the market's $50 an hour for a hygienist. They're regularly asking $60, $65 an hour, right? And the dentist is paying it. So now the temp worker walks in there. You guarantee that the other hygienists in that office are going to find out that the dentist just paid that person $15 more an hour.
Oh, for sure.
We call it hostage pay. and then the pressure starts building, right, within internally in your office, the wage pressure, and soon now your costs go up, right? So we really try to keep the wages at market level. I think in the past, maybe, temp workers, they would have to go collect 30 T4s. So maybe, charging an extra $10 an hour, call it the pain in the ass fee, maybe it was warranted. Maybe, yeah, like if I'm going to have to go do this, yeah, I should get 10 more bucks an hour, right? Yeah. But it's creating like this spin-off, negative effect for wages and offices in general.
Well, then why wouldn't the staff question themselves, and why wouldn't I just go and do this then?
You got it. Yeah.
And I'm sure like the process involves, and like you have employment lawyers and you have people that know the paperwork, look at the system so that it's bulletproof.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're doing this the way we're doing it because this is how it's supposed to be done. Like, it's just flat out. We work with all the biggest DSOs and corps in Canada and some in the States now. And they all use us because they know that they don't want to deal with this paperwork. If anybody could save money by paying someone as a contractor and not, contribute to the employer taxes and stuff, it would be a corporation. But they've all been dragged across the coals by the CRA.
Yeah.
And so they know that whenever they get a temp, whether it's through our agency or one of these basement agencies, that person needs to be paid as an employee.
Yeah. So all these corps are run by accountants. Like, who are we kidding?
Yeah. So there's no doubt in my mind that they should be paid as employees. Everybody knows this. BC, thankfully, like almost everybody's gone on board since we started. Like, as far as understanding that they have to be an employee. Ontario is coming around, but man, holy smokes, was it bad when we started there. Really? I would say 95%.
A lot of landmines.
Of dentists there were just paying them as contractors.
Really?
And then all of a sudden the audits start coming and the CRA gets involved, and then that doctor talks to that doctor. And now it's finally built up enough where, I would say it's more like 50% understand this now in Ontario, but that's still bad.
That's still bad.
It's really, really bad.
And that's like the bulk of the population.
Yeah. I mean, in the States, like we're in Seattle now, in Washington State, and soon to be Colorado and Texas and stuff like that. Thankfully the IRS has scared the shit out of enough dentists down there that there's no education campaign needed down there. We're good there, but
they have I think Americans understand fear a little bit better. Like they seem to be,
the IRS definitely seems to be, they drop the hammer harder or something. Because you say the three letters, like people freak. What?
Yeah. How have you found that transition to now dealing with the folks south of the border? The market's different. Like, I'm getting to
totally
know some people down there, and it's a different world down there, isn't it?
It is so. It's so different. The candidates. Their mentality is different. The dentists are definitely different. They're very, the services that we're selling, like staffing, whether it's temporary or permanent, they're so used to this already.
That I was just going to say, like, they are 100% more exposed to more ideas, especially, when you get into a market like Los Angeles. There's so many people there. There's so many different ideas floating around. So, like, their ability to pick something up, they just pick it up, and they have more trust. I think they've seen more down there. Arguably, they're and we see it here as like in the industry. We're always like 5 years behind, even in equipment and things.
There are certainly things that we are behind in compared to the States, but there are things actually we are ahead of. You know, they don't have Interact e-transfers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't exist. I mean, sending email or money through an email, like, what are you talking about? So anyway,
forget it. They're way behind that.
But when it comes to providing these types of services. They're definitely, there's been no education campaign needed. They get it right away. It just, the numbers, it just makes sense.
Well, I mean, right, you've done the work here to make the process bulletproof. I think, the further along in business you get, I use this analogy, right? Like Einstein's equation, E equals mc squared, is actually, this equation is like a page long, right? So it's communicating something in a simplistic fashion that people just go and they get. That takes some time.
It does, and that's actually a perfect segue into one of the things we learned. When we launched our dental division, it's called white labeling an app, right? We found a kind of a scheduling app out there that we could, put our branding on, and that, did clock in and clock out and timesheet approval and all this kind of stuff. And then long story short, company was bought, sold, they shelved the product, and then about a year and a half ago, they phoned us and they said, listen, you got 12 months to get out, find something different, like we're shutting this thing down. And it forced us to, make a decision. Do we go get another white label app, or do we build this from the ground up? And I think that it was a little bit of a blessing, because in the first few years, we learned something about what we were doing. And this is the other thing, I really want to give your audience, is just like this tool, we call it proactive staffing. It's just such an amazing way for, offices to just tap into a revenue stream that didn't exist before in a very easy way. So I think every year, like in an office, depending on the size, they're going to lose at least 100 days of production, whether it's, that, hygienist or assistant is on holiday, the dentist is on holiday, sick days, you multiply that by, the number of hygienists in the office and people. It's at least 100 days, right? Is
this numbers that are from some report, or is it just what
simple math? Yeah, literally, like if you just let's say you take an office of 4 hygienists, right? Yeah. They're taking at least 3 weeks each holiday, right? Okay. Yeah. So 15 times 4, you're at 60, and then sick days, people away, days falling apart. You're losing about 100 days,
sure,
right? Minimum. So it's like, how do you get these days back, right? And early on, what we figured out was, we were getting we were attracting the talent, and they would come into our system and then they would disappear quite quickly. And where did they go? Like, what's happening here? And soon we'd intercept them, and during the interview process and qualifying, like, what are you looking for? Like, well, I'm actually looking for work on May 25th, June 4th, and what is that? Like, oh, my office shuts down, or the dentist is away,
right?
Or I just want to pick up some extra cash for my son's birthday, whatever it may be, right?
Yeah, awesome.
So they're looking for shifts on very specific days, right? And if they came into our system and they didn't see a shift that was available in that, they're gone, right? Mm-hmm. So then we're like, okay, what if we were to take these days and ask the candidate and say, how far are you willing to commute? And they say, well, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes from my place in, whatever city. Okay, well, let's map our clients. Mm-hmm. Let's figure out who's in that radius, and let's phone them.
That's awesome.
And let's see if they've got an extra chair that day, right? And a backlog of patients and a wicked front office person.
And I'm sure that was easy to find, very easy to find. It's brilliant.
So you start reaching out, and we would say, hey, like regional manager or office manager or whatever, could you create a day of production on this day for this candidate? And they're like, absolutely you could, right?
Yeah. And
soon, now all of a sudden, these offices, instead of using temp workers as like firefighters, like someone's sick or whatever, the smart, sophisticated offices that had that wicked front office person, backlog of patients, and an extra operatory, they figured it out pretty quick.
We need to talk offline about this. That's awesome.
Yeah. So we had some of our clients pick this up right away.
Oh, I'm sure.
But back to your other point is like bringing something new to the market and having explain something new, it does take time. And we're really still trying to get people to wrap their head around this idea of proactive staffing, right, rather than reactive staffing. So we were manually doing this. We were literally collecting dates and like Google Maps, pulling up clients, emailing them individually, saying, "Hey, we've got a candidate." Then they'd book, and we create the booking. All this stuff.
Proof of concept here. Yeah,
and it was working.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
we had an office in Alberta a year ago take advantage of this to a level like that really opened my eyes up.
Really?
Yeah. This one office created an extra $300,000 of production.
Holy
just from the hygiene department. And you probably know this better than anyone. But I mean, the spin-off, like the services that come from the hygiene chair. Like, what is it? Is it 80% of?
It's the heartbeat of the practice, man. Like single unit dentistry and hygiene is 75-80% of the practice. Yeah. And honestly, that's how you build a practice. You have healthy hygiene, and yes, it's all day long. Yes, that's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool.
So so we had a client do that and created $300,000. They subsequently sold it to a big corp, and you can imagine how much more money he got because his books were showing another $300,000. Right? It's all multiples, right? So he did well. So anyway, when we were rebuilding our app, we said we got to get this feature built in. We have to automate this, and clean up some other stuff that we learned from before. So we just launched the
timeline. Sorry, this is how far back?
So we started building our app just over a year ago.
Okay, I think we were talking about this the last time I saw you. Then it's been a year.
I think since we spoke to each other. Yeah, at the PDC.
How does time just kind of how does it do that?
I know why. I'll tell you in a second. After.
You tell me.
I think someone told me it was really really brilliant.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Okay, but so it took about a year to build it. We launched it at the end of 2023. Man, oh man. The bugs that come out when you build something, holy smokes. It was like, I don't think I slept for about 4 weeks. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've worked out all the bugs, and then we just unlocked this feature of our app.
Mm-hmm. Is it still in beta, or is it?
No, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, and I can show you what this looks like.
Is this what we have up here?
Yeah. So what you're looking at here is our client portal. Okay, so if you're a client of ours, you get access to your client portal, and this section of the client portal is called, we call it candidates available or whatnot. So if you go to the first page, so what you see here are our preferred candidates. Okay, that's another story on what makes someone preferred. But basically, if someone's worked for us, they've got good references, good reviews, they have the ability now to broadcast their availability. So you can see there's a registered digest. Is it that one there? I can't read from here. What's their name? Meg. Anyway, so
yeah, it's too far away for me too.
Yeah. Oh well, there's one right. Okay, Harpreet right above. Okay, that's an easy one. Okay, so Harpreet, preferred candidate. She is in her app set her availability. And she set her desired commute distance. So I don't know what it is in this case, but I'm signed in as one of our test clients called Workforce Dental Staffing Burnaby. So this is a pretend dental office in Burnaby, us. But this is a live environment, what you're looking at right now. So here's Harpreet. Here are all the dates she's looking for work. Okay? I can literally, if I was an office manager or office, invite now Harpreet to any one or all of those dates.
It's live. Can I click it?
You can, but we don't want to send the invite to her. But if you had an existing order, you would hit existing order. You can say new order. Okay, we won't just.
I won't do it.
Yeah. We'll get to the point. So anyway,
I like pressing buttons.
Yeah. So it's populated all the dates there that she's available, and you can click into the middle there. There's all those dates just below. Right. Nope. Up. Right. Don't. right there. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So it's populated all the dates she's available, and you can you click in there and deselect or just select, the dates that you want.
Awesome.
Okay, and then you propose a start and end time. And so what happens when you follow through with this process is that it will now send her an invite. She'll get dinged on her phone, be like, Workforce Dental Staffing Burnaby would like to invite you to, May 5th, blah, 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 blah. Do you accept, right? Mm-hmm. And now job order has been created, booking has been accepted, and you've just created, $2,000 in production, roughly, right? Maybe sometimes more.
With some button clicking.
Exactly. So you can see here, like this is crazy. So
yeah,
if I have an open chair and I have a backlog of patients, I could go in here, like Harpreet's got how many dates there? I don't know, 20?
Several, yeah.
20 times 2, 40 grand?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can create 40 grand in revenue, production, right now.
Yeah.
If I've got an open chair and patients to be able to call it the book.
So if I'm a slam practice, I'm signing up right now.
Yeah, it's mind-melting. Now, like this just rolled out, and now the education campaign begins.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. As it goes.
And we made little videos in this, and some people get it right away. Like, see, they just kind of like, shh, don't tell anybody. Shh, don't, like, right.
So, give me an example of those that don't. Who would not get it?
I think ones that maybe aren't, educated on the numbers. I think that potentially, again, I'm guessing that some office managers, aren't incentivized by, the numbers.
Like all my busy clients now, that's why we need to talk about this offline. I'm going to show them this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll set you up with like a test account.
Awesome.
And then you can log in, and anytime, so you just don't send any requests.
Oh, I like pressing buttons.
Yeah, I know you do. But it's wild. Like, cool. Of course, is this absolutely perfect? No, but for instance, we've had situations where bridges get in the way of their desired commute distance. So someone could say, I'm willing to travel, 20 kilometers, but I'll never go across the North Shore.
You know what? If it's a bridge that's the problem with the system, and it's not the rest of the logistics, the accounting, and all that.
Yeah. So you'll get notified. So I send the invite to this person, and she can deny it, and we see that happen. And if we see our preferred candidates denying invitations, we reach out. We say, listen, what's going on here? You've broadcast your availability. Our clients saw the availability. Why? And
they're being selective of the office, or what is it?
Sometimes, because at that point they do get to see the name of the office. They get to read a little bit about it.
Harlene's there. She's super nice.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. So you're not going to get the invitation accepted all the time. However, as this thing picks up steam, it will certainly. I feel like this is the way people are going to do temp.
So
work.
Can you? You can only select it by an individual. Can you select a date, and then it will bring all of these candidates into the picture on the date?
No. The reason why we did it this way is because if you click the eyeball beside the invite, I don't know if maybe Harpreet's got a full profile yet. Again, we're
okay.
So see the eyeball on the right side.
Eyeball. See it.
Yeah. So you scroll down, and it gives you a summary of the candidate. So This is where you'd want, maybe to read about the person and invite this person rather than another person. Right. So there are differences, especially if, maybe your office needs some Cantonese speaking hygienist.
Well, and there's an argument in just having regularity, having the same person come back through. They understand the process. If it's going to be more like this, there's a lot of dates here. It's, like 20 days. That's a significant amount of time in the year.
Yeah.
So having just somebody that's familiar.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. So again, I think that a lot of our offices, when they find someone that they really like and vice versa, we'll usually, go in there and proactively ask, the office, hey, like, you like this girl? By the way, did you know she's broadcast some more dates? Like, and we can sort of.
So here's my question: and what happens when these folks or these prime candidates are being poached by the clinics? Is that it's a possibility, I guess?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure it is. We usually find out. Yeah. I mean, part of any staffing recruitment agency is that you can use their temps, but if you convert somebody, then there's a placement fee, and we encourage it. I mean, if candidates fall in love and clients fall in love, and there's it's a two-way street there, then make it happen. Right?
Hey, like, honestly, that alone, like, folks just finding that perfect fit, that's a science.
It is.
That's a science.
And temping is such a great way for candidates to test drive an office and also the office to see someone, because the true colors of both sides really come out over time, right? And it's a marriage, right? Like, you can get into these relationships in dentistry and be there for a long time, right? So,
are you new fresh out of school people typically on this, or you would see more veteran types on this?
We do allow it, yeah, 100%. We work with new grads. We offer a discount to our clients. So if someone is a new grad, and they apply to a shift, we'll reach out to the client and say, listen, like, we have a new grad. Are you willing to take a new grad? And if so, then they get a discount. And once someone has got enough good reviews and shifts under the belt as a new grad, then they're brought up to the normal wage.
What a great way for a new candidate to find a new, like, their home.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like, that's sort of where my wheels are turning. Very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
proactive staffing.
Proactive staffing.
I love it.
It's just a different way of looking at temp staffing.
Yeah.
So, there are markets that were more developed. Obviously, we started in the Lower Mainland here, and so the availability of our candidates is much deeper than, let's say, Seattle. I mean, Seattle is so challenging to find. To find a hygienist in Seattle right now, let alone anywhere really in North America, is wild.
Why is that?
I don't know. And
you're supposed to know.
Well, I kind of do, but
it's your arena.
But it's the amount of money that of all the markets we're in, Seattle's the highest as far as, and I think in almost every market in North America, Seattle hygienists are now, approaching $75 an hour US, right? So it's pretty wild that there's not more people getting into that profession in the Seattle area. You can make really great money, like really, really great money. But yeah, I mean, we're excited about this feature. Of course, it's just a way to tap into this revenue stream. If you've got a open operatory sitting there, like, you paid for it, right? Just utilize it. Just get an operator in there and get your patients,
So as a practice manager or treatment coordinator, I'm looking at my empty chair time, and I'm using the service to fill that empty chair time. I would want to always have somebody in those chairs.
I would encourage every office to do a calculation and say, how many days are we losing every year from just vacation and sick days?
Yeah.
And then how many days are you, I call them idle days, where you maybe built a 6-op office, and one of them's just empty because it's just sitting there because you overbuilt or whatever.
Yeah.
Every day that thing sits there, that's count that as a day too, right? So when you do the calculation and you start figuring out, it just blows your mind how much you're leaving on the table.
Yeah. Well, you said those folks in Calgary, it was $300K. And extra like, that's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, fantastic. So the journey's been fun. It's been a grind. It's we still got a lot to do here. As I mentioned, we do permanent staffing as well. It's turned into a really big part of our service, like during that COVID transition. When we launched, we're just doing temps. And then the request for perm just was too big to ignore. So we started offering that service. And then just recently, we started recruiting for dental associates. We're really going after practices across Canada and the U.S. that are the cream of the crop, and we're looking for candidates that are ready to put in that work. We've really figured out that there's this hole in the market. There are a very select few associates that are graduating or have started that are willing to put in extraordinary amount of time and effort to launch their careers. We're looking for people that want to front load their careers, work evenings, fly wherever to get CE, the ones that are hungry.
Yeah.
The ones that are looking for work-life balance, coming out of high school.
Hey, man, that's the time to work.
It's the time to work.
When you can.
Exactly. And so we're focusing on that type of candidate.
Not to mention, if you're focusing on those great practices, having a mentor is huge for these guys.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. So, it's funny when you start identifying these top producing offices and what make them special. Like there's common threads that run through them, and we're definitely, we want to work with those ones.
Let's hear it. I know them, but what are you hearing in terms of common threads?
Well, there are certain metrics that are like dead giveaways. The number of ops, the hours of operation, the number of new patients they're getting each month, right? I've heard, and maybe you can back this up, I've heard that if an office has anything less than 30 new patients a month, it's dying. Is that true?
It depends.
On the size and location.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. In the Vancouver market?
Yes.
Yeah.
A certain amount of revenue of production per associate that you've got in the office. We're targeting and we're talking with offices where, associates are coming in there and they're producing, 100, 120,000 a month in production, right? And they like, this is sort of like the baseline that these guys talk at, these owners, dentists, right? They're like, what, you're not doing, $1 million? And I think there's a lot of offices out there that it's just lower,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oral Health put out the numbers, like a patient basis is 1,000 to 1,500
per
practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Per associate, per dentist.
Per dentist.
Yeah. That's the number I'm hearing too. So if you just as a dentist owner, and I'm not, I'm in staffing, right? And so all these numbers I'm starting to absorb, if you're not, hitting these numbers, you as a dentist owner, you got to ask yourself why. Right?
And it's scary because like a lot of these folks don't even have the thermometers in the water to even know.
Yeah,
they're flying the aircraft without any gadgets or screens. It's just blind.
Yeah,
shooting from the hip. We've gone past the day and age that you can shoot from the hip it's gone. You need to have systems in place. It blows my mind. My mind.
And and I think, and you this is more your world. I mean, these things are plug and play now to a certain degree, right?
Yeah.
Like you just have identify the right one, plug it in, know what you're looking at as data wise, and your KPIs and stuff. And if something's off, then you make an adjustment.
Or if you're not comfortable with it, have somebody in your sphere, whether you have a good accountant or even like a brother or a cousin or a family member that knows what they're looking at least know at least close to what you're, you know what I mean? Like flying blind is, here's the, you say like, is it 30 a month and they're dying? Like my question back to that is like, what's their percentage of recare? You know what I mean? Like, if they're keeping patients, then they're fine. If they're having the right conversations with their patients and generating treatment, they're okay. But if they're just, it's the hygiene chair just rotating.
Yeah, for sure.
And they're doing single unit dentistry. That's
I should say that metric is, it's a combination of other things. You can't just look at how many new patients, as you said. Like, you have to look at your active patient base and all those other little things, right?
Yeah.
So, it's it's exciting times. But hopefully, your audience captured a couple things. Employee versus contractor, like, don't go down that path. You're going to get caught. Everybody that thinks they're not going to get caught, they get caught.
They're watching.
Yeah, they are, and it's getting crazier.
And I know for a fact that the CRA have spent a great deal of money to increase their resources and tracking. Like, there's more personnel there. There's more tools in place to find. If you're trying to be sneaky, they're going to find you.
Yeah, wait until AI gets into the auditing game, right, for the CRA.
It's everywhere else.
Yeah. And then there'll be no hiding at all.
I think it's,
It's got to be there. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then proactive staffing, like, this is a feature we're just rolling out and educating people on. But, if you're, an office in one of the markets that we operate in, just type in workforce dental staffing. .com, and this is just a no-brainer way to just immediately create production headache free, right? Where you don't need to worry about CRA, you don't need to worry about doing T4s, like that the administration time just on that itself, your office manager shouldn't be doing it.
I know that these guys have enough things to worry about already. Like, you don't worry about things like IRS or CRA, forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then, associate recruitment, if you're an office out there or an associate that has that mentality, visit our website, take a look. We've got sort of a write-up that explains what kind of person we're looking for, right? workforcedentalstaffing.com, and then there's a little link at the top saying associate recruitment, so you can get some more information there.
Let's see how fast I can do this. And then while I look for this, you were going to tell me you had something you were going to tell me about time.
Time? Which time?
Yeah, it's like, how does time go by so fast?
Oh yes, that's right. Okay. So when you're young, remember when you're a kid and you'd be grade 1 or something like that, and you're like, oh my God, this year is going so slow, right?
Yeah.
Someone's like, it's relativity.
It is. Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, well, when you're 8 years old, 1 year of your life is 12% of your life.
Yeah.
So that's a lot.
Not to mention, there's so many new things, new, right? Like experiences and. Anyways, I'll let you continue.
Well, yeah, but as you get older, now 1 year of when I'm 44, it's not 12%. It's what is that? Not just under 2% or just over 2%.
Over 2, yeah.
So it's faster. It speeds up. It's all relative. So time melts away as you get older. It's as simple as that because it's relative to your span of life.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Awesome. Anything else? What else is exciting? Anything cool? Anything top of mind these days?
I think that, this what I've talked about today is what I really wanted to hammer home. I think it's super important for everybody to know, and no point to fog anything, fog this up with any other information. So we're all good.
Awesome. Let's not wait a year before we talk next.
Yeah, 100%. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming in. Thanks for rebooking us. It's always better to have somebody in studio.
100%.
Yeah.
Every time.
Whoa, a little ding.
Yeah.
That means we're done.
Yeah, nice.
Goodbye.